Welcome to Positive Philter with your host, Philip Wilkerson, a podcast that focuses on friends, family, health, and career, with a little self-help along the way. Please join me in this journey for self-improvement, and I hope what I have to share will make you a better person, thus making the world a better place. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, Positive Philter listeners. It's me, Philip Wilkerson, back with another episode of Positive Philter. I'm joined by a special guest. Everyone's a special guest because they take time to join me on my show. I'm joined by Linh, Trinh, the good doctor, Trinh. And this is funny. This is the first time we actually met in person. I've been following her on LinkedIn, very influential on the LinkedIn platform. And I would say right now, she's been very inspiring to me as I pursue my own doctorate. So I love to learn the journeys of those that have the good name, doctor in front of their name. But for this podcast, just want to get to know her journey and maybe some things about her story that could be helpful to those that are going through their doctoral programs, as well as just navigating careers. So, good Dr. Linh, give a little introduction of who you are.
Hi, Philip. Thank you so much for having me on today. Well, now, disclaimer, I did not know that we were going to do this today, and this is all just very sudden to me. So, hello, everyone. It's great to be here with you guys today. My name is Dr. Linh Trinh. A little bit about myself. I came to the United States when I was 18 years old. I went to college at St. Mary's College of Maryland, down on Chesapeake Bay. It's a beautiful campus. If you don't know where that is, come over and just check it out. It's beautiful. And then I moved to Virginia back in 2015 after I graduated with my bachelor and started to do my master's degree and then my doctorate with the help of Dr. Monson. We all know who that is, right? She's the director of the School of Music. And I got a bunch of scholarships. So very, very thankful to the Friends of Music and all the people, all the donors that have been pouring money into us because they believe in us. Well, long story short, after I got my PhD or DMA, if you may, I moved away from the area and I actually spent about 3 years away from this place. And let me tell you, it made me question my entire existence because I believe that we all have that one hub or like the one power source, and I believe that the DMV area is actually my own power source. So as soon as I moved away, I kind of lost myself. I stopped performing, I stopped practicing, I became a stay-at-home mom. Now, nothing wrong with that, but I realized that wasn't really the life for me. So I was just looking for something else to do, not so much for the money, but more like to keep my brain going. Because once you go to school all your life and then you start using your brain on a daily basis. And then now you're like, just changing diapers and listening to the wheel on the bus and like all day long. It's kind of like you lose yourself in the mess. And so that's when I became a virtual assistant. Again, not so much for the money. I make like $25 an hour and I work like 4 hours a week. But it kept my brain going. And then sooner than later, I actually got discovered by a person in finance. It wasn't really a good company that I actually started with, but they actually found me because of my location. It was set to be San Diego. But one day I just wandered on LinkedIn and I started looking at everything that I was doing before motherhood, and I just tidied it up a little bit. And I think this was when God kind of knocked on my door with this brand new opportunity, and I just said yes. Okay, finance, that sounds great. There is something really, really cool about a woman in finance, right? Personal finance. And so that's when I made the pivot, and I have never looked back because now I found a brand new purpose for my life. Not to say that piano wasn't great, because I love being the entertainer, making people feel moved with the music and everything. But then now I have a bigger purpose, which is helping young professionals and people who are struggling with their finance. They want to kind of get their money together and whatnot. Yeah, I want to step in there early before they get themselves into all kind of trouble with like credit card bills and whatnot. Yeah, I love it. I
So
really
it's a
do.
real pivot. So going back to your origin story, and I know you came to the States from Vietnam. When you were looking at American universities, what drew you to St. Mary's and studying music? You could have studied anything. Why do you want to still study music when you came to the States?
Yes. So first and foremost, I started music when I was 4 years old. So it was always something that was like deeply instilled in me. When I was searching for a program in America, my parents actually insisted that I was going to go to some school with a music program. And then we had a dinner, appointment with two professors from St. Mary's College of Maryland.
Okay.
They actually took the time to fly to the country and recruit more students, and that's how I met them. And for me, it's in this world like digital, we're very caught up on the internet and everything. Individuality is very important to me. So I always I think of people who actually get out of their way to connect and like create that human bond with anybody outside of their realm. I really, really appreciate those people, and that was one of the reasons why I chose St. Mary's.
That extra touch, that extra.
Yes,
touch
exactly. It's not so much like sitting at home, like speaking through the computer or whatever, but like it's actually like you get out of your room, you actually go meet people, and you make that human connection.
So they were really impressive. I'm gonna assume there was a little bit of culture shock. What was that acclimation like when you got to Maryland?
Well, this is probably a little bit unique, but I never actually fit in the society in Vietnam. So people talk about cultural shock. Me, I felt like I was a tiger being released into the wildness because it was great. I remember the second day that I was in the state, I saw this person just walking around the campus with like pink hair, and nobody even so
Blinked
much
eye-
as
blinked
yeah
an
no
eye,
yeah they didn't even blink, and like they didn't even like turn around to see, and like that was something that I did not see in Vietnam. Like if you have like an abnormally large nose or something, people are going to look and people are going to notice. But
Yeah, like more so like the opportunity and freedom of expression is a little different in
Yep.
Maryland than it was. And I'm assuming that Vietnam is a little bit homogeneous. So how was that seeing all kinds of different looking people, black, white, other? How was that
I loved it.
adjustment? Okay.
I loved it immediately. Yeah. I love diversity.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like I thank God every day that He actually brought me into this country, because this is the best country to be in if you are the person who love freedom and love diversity, right? And so, yeah, as soon as I got here, I was like, oh my God, like I should have been here my whole life. And my parents, they were born and raised in Vietnam, so it's all just very close-minded. I don't want to make the umbrella statement.
Yeah.
It has got a lot better nowadays that we have more students who study abroad in other country and then bring back the culture into Vietnam. But yeah, when I was growing up, it wasn't anything like that.
It's very homogeneous.
Yeah.
And what about, I always think about this. You said you were a caged tiger, but there's some things that are, cultural strengths, being Vietnamese, resilient, whatever. What was some things that you still held on to as you acclimated to life in the States?
Just my blood.
Okay.
Vietnamese people are known for our resilience, and we're strong. We're really, really strong people. It's so funny because you brought that up, because I actually have a post in Vietnamese dropping this Thursday, or actually no, Friday, on my LinkedIn. So tune in if you want to see how I write in Vietnamese. It's nothing special anyway, because after 14 years of being here and being in this culture, I consider myself being a little bit Americanized already.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, when I try to write something in Vietnamese, it's a little bit awkward, but I try my best. But that's what I talk about in that post. Like we're strong people, we're resilient, we have the culture of always yearning for knowledge. And I think that is what making our country a lot, like we're developing a lot faster than others, because we're always yearning for more knowledge.
And then bringing people from different aspects. I always think about the same thing about marginalized groups. Like, I wouldn't want to be anything but a black person. I say that because of my ancestry. That kind of gives me like a little bit of like innate resilience. Like if my forefathers could go through this stuff, I'm a resilient. It's in my blood too. Exactly. So I hold on to that sense of individualized cultural pride, but also understand like the beauty of learning from other people's cultures too, and what they bring to this melting pot of America.
Yeah, I think it's very important for us to be open-minded. That's all. Like, sure, you can be proud of who you are, and you can be proud of your family. You can be like as rich as you want to be, but if you close your mind at one point in your life, you are going to see how damaging it could be for you. There's always something that you can learn from your neighbor next door, even if they're, I don't know, poorer than you or whatever. Sorry.
Yeah, different. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but we are all. I'm sure that we share the same resilient and like the open mind when it comes to culture similarity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I thought about too is you, as an international student, we're seeing that right now, the difficulty of getting employed or coming to another country and using that opportunity for education. So, what were some things that you thought of as an international student when you got to Maryland to really take full advantage of this opportunity to study in another country?
I did pretty much everything that I could get my hands on. So as an F1 student, F1 visa student is really, really hard. It was really, really hard for me to find a job, right? I mean, I don't know how it is now, but it was really, really difficult for me, and I couldn't work outside of campus. So I did the research, and I found out a way to actually get a social security number, and I started working as a barista on campus. And so that's how I could cover my phone bills and help my parents a little bit, because they did pay a lot of money for me to be here. And so, yeah, I would work from like 6 a.m. to like 12 a.m. the next day. But the one advice, if you're asking for one, the one advice that I have for all foreign students, do whatever you have to do, man. Like, don't ever think that there is a job that is underneath you, or don't ever think of yourself being overqualified for anything, because you never know. I mean, you never know who you are going to run into when you're taking this opportunity. And that person might as well be the person who will help you get to the top.
Yeah, now, and then so with that being said, I know a lot of international students said, though, okay, I'm coming here to study, like, let's say, technology. But the only jobs I can get on campus are like, barista. So what would you say to that, to still build your skills to get into the industries that you want to get into while having to do what you need to do to get bills paid? And how did you balance that? Studying music and probably doing a job like a barista, which is, I'm not using my degree in music, but it's still a value add to you.
This is the way that I think of college and its function. College is not just for your knowledge.
Okay.
It's for connection. If you know how to go out there and make the right connection, you are going to meet the right people who will get you to where you want to be. Right? Let's say if I'm a barista, that's an advantage already, because everybody on campus is going to know who I am.
You're the barista girl.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was in, they call me the grind girl, because the name of the coffee shop was the Daily Grind. Yeah. I don't know if you. That's
like MTV, The Grind. You remember that? Remember that show?
No, I don't.
Okay, that was a show called MTV The Grind where they just danced on stage. The point is, it had a name, so you're the grind girl.
Yeah. So my advice is, if you go to college, that is already a huge advantage compared to other. But also, if you score any job at all on campus, use that to your advantage and actually meet with people and talk to people and find out what they do and see if it could form a friendship or something. And then the next thing you know, you're going to find the right person who will eventually help you get to where you want to be. Doesn't matter what your major is.
So how did you leverage the full experience at Maryland, to get, because obviously you kept on going and get a master's. How did that, these building relationships on campus, getting out there, how did that pivot to you getting a master's or help you in the next step in your career?
So when I was there, obviously, everybody know who I was. I didn't really remember many people. I mean, I have my own capacity. but eventually everybody knew me as a barista girl, and then when it was easier for me to find audiences when I had to like create like let's say like a give a recital or something.
Yes.
I remember I had a lot of people actually coming out and actually traveling back to the state to attend my my recital at the end of my program.
Okay.
So that was a success already. And then now that like it has been years since I returned to campus, but people still remember me. And yeah, when I reach out, they just know who I am, and it
So you stayed in touch with professors and all that too.
yeah
And,
yeah.
and people. What was the pivoting point to keep going? Because obviously we think about the arts. Like you don't really necessarily need an advanced degree in the arts to be, famous or not famous, but use that skill. So what was the deciding factor to keep going with your education, particularly in the arts?
So funny because I actually started in college as a psychology major.
Okay.
I mean, you read my LinkedIn. I actually quit piano before I came here.
Yeah.
And I ran into Brian Gans, who was the, like one of the teachers at St. Mary's, and he's great. He's wonderful, and he actually was the person who saved my career. One day he just told me, in one of our lessons, he just stopped midway and he asked me why I wasn't pursuing piano. Because he said, I had what it takes. I was so rare. There are like 10 people who could play the piano, but maybe 1 out of 10 can actually make the audience like so moved that they would cry. So that's when I actually questioned myself. Yeah, I already have this foundation. I keep getting straight A's. In school, I didn't even have to try so hard. And so that's when I was like, okay, let's just see where this is going to go. And also, well, I have tiger parents, and my dad is very, very strong on making sure that I would be the very first person in my entire lineage to have a PhD in something. And
he had the PhD in mind. Like,
yes, he pushed me.
When did the PhD bug come into your dad's mind?
It's always like that. We're perfectionists. So if we're going to pursue something, we're going to want to go all the way up to the top and get the ultimate degree
of that.
Of that industry.
So like, when you went to St. Mary's, you're like, okay, I'm gonna study music. Your dad's like, okay, you're gonna keep going all the way. Was that like the conversation, or like, okay, I'll get a master's, okay, then get it? Like, was it each step telling you to go further, or was like laid out at the very beginning, like you gonna get this PhD at the beginning of your journey?
Yeah, no, you gotta understand. Me and my dad, we're two same people. However, I would find every single way to fight him back. Like fight. So whatever he wanted me to do, I would be like, no, I'm gonna do something else. So that actually continued until the end of college. The end of my sophomore year. And then after I actually realized music might be what was going to be good for me, that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to stick with music. And I kid you not, at that moment I was like, I'm gonna get my PhD.
There it is. So you had this thought in sophomore year, like this is it, this is the train. As you started to curate this train, how did you figure out your next steps? Like, okay, I gotta go get a master's at Mason. How did the thought of I'm gonna get this PhD, how did that start planning out?
Well, I just did some research, and it said you cannot get a doctorate before you can get your master.
Yeah.
So then that's when I was like, okay, let's go do my master. Yeah. I applied to like 10 schools, mind you, and I got rejected 8 times.
Okay.
Because I overreach. Obviously, I applied to like the Juilliard and New England Conservatory and all of that. I even went to Boston in the middle of a snowstorm back in 2000, like early 2014, I believe. There was like a huge one. But yeah, I was determined. And so I actually went all the way to Boston to do like an audition, blah, 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 whatever. But then I got accepted into George Mason and Towson University.
Okay.
I went to audition for both school. But here, I don't know, like the campus is way too beautiful for me to ignore. And then I met Dr. Monson, and have you ever met Dr. Monson in person?
No, I've heard. No, actually, I think I did, not directly in person. Like they did an honoring thing at the Board of Visitor meeting. I think it was. Is the Monson family the one that they always have like a recital at their house?
We have a lot of
like
recitals.
They bring like students that are the music students to their house to perform.
A lot. No, actually, not just their house, but also other donors' house as well. So
okay, because it might have been them, because that's what I heard the stories. Like, wow, that's cool. They actually love the music, but they also bring the community to them and support it. And so I think that I might have seen them from a distance. So this person, once again, individualization was not. Was that one of the people on your audition? Was she one of the?
she was the only one at my audition.
Okay.
And the one thing that you need to know about Dr. Monson is that you meet her once and it's pretty much game over for you if that's something that you want to do. Like she has this kindness about her. You know, there are a lot of people who give you like the vibe.
Yeah.
You know, some is cold, some is not so cold, whatever. But Dr. Monson is just raw, radiant kindness.
So and very welcoming. It was
Yes,
just done
very
deal.
welcoming. Yes,
So
you just
you
meet her
left that-
once, and then you will never forget her.
So you left that and was like, okay, I'm going here now. That's what it felt like.
Yes, and she also offered me like
Money. Yeah.
Yeah, she offered me multiple scholarship
That
on the
helps.
spot.
That helps.
Yeah.
So you get here. Was there any differences between Maryland and Virginia? I mean, for instance, I'm a military kid, so I grew up all over the place.
Okay.
Northern Virginia is pretty, I would say, fast-paced and also very like, what do you do? You know, like, it's not say like ambitious, but yeah, I guess, you know, like, it's almost like Dr. Lawyer bust in this area, right? When I say Northern Virginia, like,
I love it here.
I love it too, but it's also like a hotbed of like, you know, you got to be excellent to stand out in Northern Virginia. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
The average Northern Virginia person, and no shade to other people, are already at an advantage if they go to other places in the country because of like just so much going on here, so much opportunity, so much. Kids are already like you said, piano. They're doing their. We got kids that are already trained to go to college level. Like it's just such a hotbed of like of ambition.
Yep.
And so for some people that could be intimidating. For some people that's like they thrive off of that.
Yeah.
What is your notion of Northern Virginia in this area?
I have the pretty much same impression. So in Maryland, it was more like chill, and there were a lot more like older people. Older folks go there to like retire.
Yep.
Yeah, the campus was beautiful, but yeah, everybody was just kind of like
quieter.
like going along.
Yep.
You know, like not very ambitious. No shade, of course, but yeah,
Different pace.
They aim for a comfortable life, and where they don't really have to worry too much about making so much money or like standing out as extraordinary.
Yeah.
But here, once I got here, it's like, oh my God, like it's always going. You have to climb to the top of the mountain, everything, in everything that you do. And honestly, I love it. Because I was a city girl.
So you fed off of that energy.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Like, let me tell you, my week usually go like this. On Monday, usually I get so depressed because Monday I don't really have any human connection. So it's like Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday I don't really hang out with a lot of people because most people that in my age, they have kids. You know, they spend that time for family bonding. And then usually my business would pick up on Tuesday. That's when I start meeting with clients and whatnot. And so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's great. And I usually like
that
light
pace.
up doing that.
Yeah,
During that time. So that's how I pace myself. You know, I really need to go outside and do more things during the weekend. But yeah,
you
so
like that pace and you like that advance.
I really do. I feed off of not feed off, but like
feed off the energy.
I love being around people and actually exchange the energy with them.
Now, what was I'm assuming that the master's and the PhD, or what'd you call it?
DMA.
DMA is a very niche, so very intimate program. I mean, did you get to it was very small classes and you got to know a lot of the people in your cohort? How was that experience going through that, more intimate program?
I love it. I mean, I love the individuality. You get tended to very, very well by every single teacher that you work with. And whenever you have any problem or you don't understand something, it's very important for me as an international student, right? I would hate to have to sit in like a huge auditorium. But like here we have weekly master class with Dr. Monson and like the entire team or the entire studio, so that we get to know each other and some friendship got formed from that perspective, from that approach. And then we just have like really, really small side classroom, and everybody just try to help each other succeed and growth, and especially also like the teacher, you get to know them in person in every single class that you go to.
Yeah.
So eventually when you have to create like a committee for
Yes.
your DMA program, yeah, that's easier because now you know what teacher's style speak
Yes.
with you the best and stuff like that. So yeah, I loved it.
So what was, obviously the DMA entails research and all that. So coming from a very creative background, was it an adjustment to do the more scholarly research stuff with music?
A little bit, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I took a while deciding what I wanted to do for the dissertation. You know, it took a lot of like testing and failing and whatnot. But then I ended up writing or analyzing a body of work by a composer named Scott Wheeler. He's an American composer, and he wrote this. He didn't really create it, but his teacher did, Vigil Thompson. I don't know if you've ever heard of his name before, but yeah. So Dr. Scott Wheeler actually wrote about 40 something musical portraits. He would sit with you, and you would do whatever, like read a book or something, and then he would feed off that vibe, and then he would create music on the spot. It's so cool. And a few of the pieces, I'm not gonna lie, they're so difficult I couldn't even master them. But
To play is difficult to play.
yeah, difficult to play.
And he would just freestyle. He would take his environment. And is that a technique of like, I guess like freestyle rap? Is it like freestyle writing or something? Like, is that a technique that people do? Is like they freestyle the composing?
Yeah, I mean, think about it like painting.
Yes.
Like capturing your physical presence, right?
Yeah.
He would capture the vibe.
With notes.
Yeah, with music notes. It's so cool.
Okay,
You
that's,
must.
that's,
Yeah.
I have to check it out. And so that was some of your studies. That was something.
That I actually analyzed his entire body of work for the piano.
How did you? Okay, now I'm thinking about nerd hat. Put it on. What does analyze? What does analyze mean? Like, did you have to like see if there was a theme and code it, or did you interview him and see what the interview? I don't know. Like, how do you research music? Like, okay, I'm saying this as a social scientist, right? I'm getting a PhD in communication. I'm learning to like, okay, if I want to get data from the world, I'm interviewing you. Code that, or I'm going to do a survey, code that. But how do you get data from music? How did you synthesize data from this musical experience?
You have music notation, right? So I would listen to his pieces, of course, and then I would track the musical notation, right? And then I would look into what I have been taught in music theory and music history. I would do what form is this one in? Is it ABA, or is it like theme and variation? I would look into that, and I would study the register. So like you have high register, and then you have like low register. You also have like dissonant and consonant. What is that word? I don't know how to say the word. Consonant? Yeah. So I study all of that, and I factor it all in. And also based off of the history of music, then I would kind of relate, okay, so what does this P resemblance, like what is it's similar to? So eventually I actually divided his musical, like the piano musical revolution, into three different areas, three different eras, and that relates to Beethoven as well. If you know anything about Beethoven's music, people usually divide that into three different genre,
like Bach, Beethoven,
periods.
someone else, Mozart.
Yeah, something like that.
They have different styles. And I just know Beethoven was really dramatic. Like dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah, Beethoven was definitely revolutionary. That's the word.
So you would tie it back to a theme, tie it back to an era, find common themes. Also, like thinking about social science, what's going on, to understand the context of how it connects to historical reference or cultural reference and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seems a lot of labor intensive.
Yeah, and also the more modern the composer is, the more complex his music could be, because then now you have you have to trace all the music back to like Baroque music and like romantic blah 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 blah. But yeah, so it was interesting. Some pieces of his are very classical, very romantic with like a clear melody and whatnot, and not so much dissonance. But then some pieces are just kind of like everywhere, and the timing was always changing. Those are the pieces that I could not master for the life of me.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very complex. I also did a lot of interviews with him as well, asking him what he was feeling or what he was thinking when he composed this, and what his impression of the person, of the subject was. And I did a bunch of research.
Was he around? I mean, it's obviously he's around. Did you meet him on Zoom or in person?
Back then, I conducted interview on Zoom. But the very first time that I met him was actually in Italy, back in I know, my life.
Just in Italy.
Just in Italy. It was a festival called Alba, a music festival, and that was the very first time that I actually met him. It's like 10 years later that I met him again in New York, because he teaches at Emerson College in New York, and that's when I kind of ran into him. Right in the middle of me choosing what I was going to do for my dissertation. And I was like, oh,
you,
yes, hello. And, like my parents also were there too. So like we got in like a beautiful dinner appointment and everything. And so, yeah.
It seems like it'd be very flattering for someone to like study me. Like, oh, you like my music? I bet he was flattered. Like, did he like, was it like hard to like, sometimes you have to be critical. Did you have to be critical of him during like, here's something, like not improvements, but like, like be a stoic person. Not everything's perfect, right? And so, like, are you gonna judge my work? And
no. It's nothing like that. Number one, you have to keep an objective view. Number two, I mean, I was never a composer, so I could never put myself in that situation where I can judge another person's work, because I just don't even have the equipment to do so.
You were looking at it from a lens of a performer,
exactly,
and not a composer.
Yes.
So that could be different, right? Like, got it. Like if I was like, it's easier for me to say like I used to play football. I can talk about football, but I don't know how to coach it. So it might be different. Like telling the coach how to be a better coach is different than being a player.
I mean, like, think about it. Like, if you analyze a sentence, like a single sentence written by somebody, you could just be an a-hole. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And just like zoom into the meaning of it, but. You could also be really objective and just be like, okay, he has a subject, he has a verb, he has a nouns, blah, blah, blah. And so that's good.
Stoicism and objective research.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you're a woman of many, many different, I'm going to call you a Renaissance woman because you're doing different things. How did this pivot to finance work with your background in music? I have a few ideas, but I want to hear from you. What do you think is the connection piece of how this does work? Because I believe that when people pivot and do different things, their experiences are still applicable no matter what. But I want to hear what you like. How do you connect these dots to pivot into a new industry, but also leveraging your unique experiences to that new industry?
So let me ask you this: what do you think of? How do you think of music? Is it subjective or objective?
Both and. So like for instance, I think that, music is in the, not say the eye of the beholder, right? But like you can make music and people either hate it or like it, right? Like it's based on preference.
So it's subjective.
Yeah, subjective.
Right?
But then I think the skill set, there is certain tangible skill sets, more so like the composing or producing or actual playing, that I can say very objectively that guy is a good player. Like he has a very tangible skill set of playing the guitar, whether he's born with it or practiced. There's you can see a level there. So I think it's both and, right? Like I think that you can say, oh, I hate this song and someone else loves it, but also I think uniformly I've gone to things where I'm like, I don't know nothing about this. I'm not typically a country music fan or whatever genre music, but I can see someone playing country music and appreciate like that person is really skilled at playing, regardless of the style, because I know that they work hard at it. So I think it's both and.
Okay. Well, finance is the same. I mean, you could be number one subjective. When we talk about subjective, it's subjective to that person's wants and needs,
that part,
and you really have to kind of adapt your approach to get them to where they want to be.
Yeah.
But first thing first, you have to ask them the questions like, what do you want? What do you need? How do you envision yourself in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? And based off of their answers, that's when you choose the approach to get them there. So there are a lot of different nuances and different branches in finance, and there are like tons of different vehicles that will produce different results. So you have like life insurance, which is risk management, income protection. Those are risk management and whatnot. And most people need it. Unless even the ultra wealthy also use life insurance a lot. But then when it comes to like investment strategy, right? You have to be very, how do I say this? Like very in tune with what the person is looking for, right? And like in my practice, I divide my investment advice into 3 different duration, right? You need to have like short-term investment, you need to have mid-term investment, and then you have a long-term investment. And the vision for each of those are very different. And the numbers are also different as well. So you always have to kind of adapt your approach to help the person get to where they want to be in each bucket.
Yeah, so what's the connection to music is more so like in your thought, right? The very tangible thing is money or whatever.
It depends on the person.
It depends on that person. And then there's also like the skill set part, right? You can see people that just have natural like save money, whatever. There's parts of there's very universal things that we can talk about with money, about saving or not. That's universal within this individual. So it's a combination of individual.
That's the objective for you. If you are not saving money, you just like kind of living life on autopilot. That's already not a good approach. And you might get really lucky and win the lottery one day, or maybe your grandparent just turn out to be this rich person and like leave you tons of money. But don't bank on that.
So from what I'm hearing, your background in music helped you be adaptable, also individualistic, and look at this industry as individual opportunities. And those are some skill sets. What are some other universal skill sets that you believe that your experience brought that is not so necessarily degree related? That made you, that made you adapt to pivot from music to finance?
Education.
Okay.
So if you know how to teach, if you know how to break down like complicated concept into human language, because I spent my whole life teaching children how to play the piano, so I had to be be able to explain things. So now I use that same skill set. It's called transferable skill in finance, and you're gonna see that a lot on my LinkedIn, because like sometime I just break down really, really complex concept into human language, and it's easy for a 10-year-old to understand.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the applicable thing. What has been one of the, not say unexpected challenges, but like, what has been some of the negative things that you've, perceptions that people would have about going from music to finance that you've had to overcome?
Not so much about from music to finance. I mean, I do have a PhD, DMA. So most people, even if they don't know anything about music and they have been in finance their whole life, they know that I'm smart, because
they respect the degree.
Yeah, but when we talk about challenges in finance, the one thing that I saw, that people look down on me for my age because I'm so young.
To get into finance?
To work in finance and to actually talk like a planner. A lot of people look at me and I'm so young and I'm a woman and I'm an immigrant, and they question my credibility. And my capacity. Like, what do you know about number? Like, you came from music and you're so young. Like, who are you to tell me, a 65-year-old, how to take care of my finance? Stuff like that.
Yes.
And also I'm a woman too. So I am a woman in a very, very strongly male-dominated industry. Okay. So people like those males, they like to talk numbers and whatnot, and I'm over here like, first and foremost, you need to hold this person's hand through whatever horrible day that they are having before you start talking numbers. Yeah, it's two different approaches, but what I have realized is that when people actually come to me for financial advices, and they realize that I'm not just here for the number, I'm not just here for their money, but I'm actually here for them as a human being with emotions, they tend to stick around.
Okay.
They don't leave me.
So that's how. So then, I think about that too. You said young was one adverse thing, but like, there's a lot of kids that are gonna get finance degrees and be considered too young, but that's like what they studied for.
Yeah.
So so evidence? One of the things I'm hearing as a good strategy is like, one, meet people, but how do you keep yourself credible? Like, do you study finance like on your own? How did you get that hidden curriculum of being confident in that realm?
Well, first and foremost, if you are in school for the degree, get the degree. And then after that, you are going to get thrown. Well, actually, as you are studying for the degree, there's no rule to say that you can't go out there and start practicing in real life. You can start taking care of your parents' money, or you go intern somewhere if that's allowed, if your time is allowed. Just don't stick with just school.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes, you need real life experience as well. And the more real life experience you have, by the time that you're ready to actually jump into it, like full, just jump into it after you graduate, then that is already giving you a better chance than other people who just go to school and just focus on school.
I love it. Now, I think this is one of my last questions, and then we'll go to my last segment of my show called Shot for Shot. But as you have stepped foot on this campus, George Mason, I like to say, like, parting words. What is, a real concrete piece of advice that you would like to share to those that are studying the arts but don't want to limit themselves to the arts? What would you say to that person?
Take your shot. Man, whatever you're good at, go out there and actually try. And like, just because you're in arts doesn't mean that you can't do anything else. That's the one thing that I see a lot of people do. They kind of go to school and they have this degree and they think that they have to like limit themselves in that lane.
Hyper-focus,
Exactly. But there's no rule in this world to say that you are not allowed to do more than one thing at once. You can be, as an artist, you can be a business owner. You can open your own music school or your own music practice, your own music studio. You can be a bartender if you need the money and you like the connection with people. Right there, again, I'm going to go back to that point that I made. There is nothing beneath you. So just go out there and take your best shot at whatever you want to do and just see where it leads you. Because you never know. I mean, I thought that I was going to be a music teacher my whole life. And look at me now. I'm a financial advisor. I'm a risk management advisor in finance. So you never know.
Never know. And nothing's beneath you. And I think the word that comes is multi-potentialite.
There you go.
That we have potential for multiple things, not just one.
And also try to be like multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
It's great, a jack. I just learned the other day, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes is better than the master of one. So a master of none, the master of none is still better than a master of one, because then I think about it too. Like, what if it's Shakespeare? Go look it up.
Okay,
that is the entire quote.
Yeah.
When I found that,
you always cut it off at master of none.
Exactly. I found so betrayed. Like, I found so brainwashed. But the entire quote is a jack of all trade is the master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Yeah. That's the whole quote.
Because think about it. What if the thing that you're mastered in gets taken away from you?
Exactly.
You have nothing else.
What if you are a pro athlete and then one day you just lose your legs? What are you going to do now?
Yeah, because that was you mastered only, I don't know. I think for me, it's the ADHD heaven. It's I could just get bored. I can't do just one thing.
Exactly.
I've never been built for that. I've always been like, squirrel, new thing. But, it's a good thing to have.
I think that could also be a gender thing too, because for us women, we have to multitask all the time. Like, we not only have to learn how to cook and clean and go make money outside of the house and then take care of our kids. So like naturally, we are already forged to be multi-dimensional. But like usually for the male,
I think
you're more
focused.
focused.
I think it's a both and. I think yes, if we look at the overall society, especially working women, we have told women, you got to do both. You got to be gender-wise, like if you got to be a family person and this. We keep on ingraining that, and then we tell a man as they grow up, get a job.
Exactly, and focus on
make
that. Money. Yeah.
And then but then generationally it's different. Like, I always wanted to be a good father and have a cool job. So I wanted to have both. But also I think that once again it goes back to this narrative that we're sharing, just in education, is that kids get on this train and that's the only train that they can be on, and then they get so much anxiety when they're like, I studied my whole life for this, and they don't like it. And then you're like, well...
And then they're lost.
They're lost. And so I think it's almost like really changing the landscape of education, too, is to say, like, yeah, I'm a history major, but I don't mean I want to be a historian.
Exactly.
Or you're a music person. You don't have to do music. Take the skills from it, take the experience from it.
Exactly.
But also don't limit yourself. So I think it is a combination of societal gender norms that we are breaking way through, and also societal model and career norms, like that your career is this one trajectory where if you really look at people's careers, many people pivot.
Yeah, it used to be just devoting your whole life with one company though, but nowadays companies don't devote to you. Why do you have to devote all your life to a company?
Yeah, there's no such thing as that 40-year cake.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's so this is the part of the show called Shot for Shot. I get to ask you a random question.
Oh.
You get to ask me a random question. You want to go first or I go first?
I don't know what to ask. I'm not really...
I'll go first then.
Okay.
All right. So we're connected on LinkedIn. What is some of the energy, and this is maybe like an alley-oop, what is some of the energy that I shared online that would make it seem like I would be a decent person to me?
Oh, all your posts are all about contributing to George Mason and making other people's life better. You also ran for the president of what is it again?
Okay, so first of all, I'll give you a caveat, and this is a disclaimer for everybody. I am the president of the College of Education and Human Development Alumni Board.
Okay.
The other disclaimer is I didn't run against nobody because no one wanted it.
Oh. Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah. And so I was just having fun with it.
Okay.
I was going to make a fake campaign.
Okay, that's cute.
And rally people around it and get some, just see how far I can push it. And people are like, congrats. I'm like,
That's very creative.
I went unopposed. But the point is, I wanted to get some love around the alumni and get involved. So I kind of did that just for fun. Nobody run against me. But
you didn't have to share it today. Nobody would have.
Well, I think a lot of people did know. It's like they're like, "Who are you running against?" Nobody. I was just doing it for fun. But okay.
Okay. Yeah, but no, your post really. So I feed off of energy. So I would be able to tell if this person is just being fake, just faking it online, and cold. But you actually take time to respond to my comments and make everybody feel seen whenever they engage with you. So that's when I was like, okay, this person actually have the energy and actually take time to devote to people. That's why I knew that we were going to vibe.
Well, I'm smiling because it's one of the things I told people is that I really want to work hard in life in general. This is something I've always thought about, is that I want there to be congruence on who I am online to the person I am. Now, I know I'm a lot shorter than I look online. I'm still loud, but that's that congruency. And then I think that's about the building connections with people. It's like, is this person in real life, the same alignment? And so I can say very thoughtfully that the alignment is there for you too. And you are just as nice in person.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm way too chaotic sometimes. I actually have heard that I'm way too chaotic, and most of the time compliance has nothing to do with me.
There you go. Well,
nobody wants to put me in their box or containment or whatever, because I would break it every single time.
Well, you're an uncaged tiger. I think
yes, sir.
I feel like that should be your new nickname, Uncaged Tiger.
Oh,
you're uncaged now. You're not a caged tiger no more. All right, so my question for you. Besides the tiger, what is your spirit animal? Because now
cat. I love cats.
And why?
They are independent. They are very mysterious. I love that. I don't like to give away everything that who I am 100%. You would see this ha 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 all the time, but I do have some moments where I break down in silence and nobody know. And I embrace the individuality. Again, there's the cats are a very misunderstood creature. But I don't know what's not to love about them. They're independent. They don't like yell at you that much, right? They don't lick your face all the time. They're not trying every single moment of their life to be with you. And
she's doing shots fired at the dog people.
Oh God!
I had a dog too, and I was like, I'm hearing your themes, like, yeah, like.
Hey man,
They're different. Dog
I'm
and
a
cat
woman and I'm a high performer, so I just want to be left the hell alone most of the time.
All right, cat people. All
yeah.
Right. You have any cats?
I actually had 2. They're both with my ex-husband and my baby now.
But you're a cat person. All right.
I am 100% a cat person.
All right, I love it. Well, this is the part of the show called shout outs and plugs. Shout outs mean you can show love to anyone you want to show love to. And then plugs, these are things that you're working on so I can make sure that I put them in the show notes of this podcast. How you want people to follow up with you or things you just want to be aware of. So the stage is shout outs and plugs.
Okay, so first and foremost, since I am on campus, I cannot not shout out to the School of Music, Dr. Linda Monson. She's the reason why I'm even here, and why I'm still here in this country, because that woman made sure that I was going to be around, even during like COVID, I was in Vietnam, and then she just made sure that she was going to wait for me to come back to do my...
Oh, you had to go back to COVID? I mean, you had to go back to Vietnam?
No, it was just a vacation.
Oh, okay, but she made sure you got back in the country.
Yeah, but we just made sure that the program was going to be followed through,
That's real.
So yeah, definitely Dr. Monson. And every single professor at the School of Music. If you guys have not checked out our events at the School of Music, please do so. We're actually entering a huge season of performances. You can go to the Grand Piano Celebration in September, and then followed by Arts by George. I think that we need to find more time to connect with our human side, meaning arts and music. And you have a great school here with world-renowned talent just waiting for you to come and explore them. So that's my shout out for today. Now plugs. I would like for people to please come find me on LinkedIn and follow my educational posts. I understand that we are really young, we're students, but also we have graduate students who are married or starting a family, and they really, really need the education when it comes to finance, because the financial education system in this country is broken.
Yeah.
Right. And I am an educator at heart. So I would really like for people to please come check out my LinkedIn and read my educational post. And if they have any questions or they want me to do like a complimentary review or something, just make sure that everything is in order before they enter the real world. I can do so as well.
DM you for those informations on LinkedIn. But this has been great. I learned a lot, and this has just been an excellent first meeting, and I'm glad that you answered the call to be on this podcast. Positive Filter listeners, as you know, every episode is dedicated to the memory of my late father-in-law, Jeff Kirsch, and all the work he did fighting food insecurity. So please consider donating to the Jeff Kirsch Anti-Hunger Fund. Additionally, as you know, I'm an ambassador of kindness at Mason, so if you want to show love to someone else at Mason, please consider submitting to Pats for Patriots, which is a way to show love. This is a great episode. Like, subscribe, share, and keep the conversation going. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to Positive Filter, a podcast that focuses on family, friends, career, with a little self-help along the way. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your family and friends, and like the Facebook page, Spreading Positivity of Movement. Thanks for listening.